Hey guys, welcome back to How to Build a Blog with Laravel. This is part number 21 of our series, and in this video we're actually going to go back to our homepage and just make a few tweaks to our homepage and a few other like little house cleaning items that I've noticed that we need to get fixed. I just want to throw them all in this little video, and that's what we're going to do. I'll see you guys soon. Guys, welcome back. So once again, we are doing part number 21. This is going to be one of the more casual videos that we do because it's late at night, and it's not late at night, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm sure you can see my clock up there, but it's kind of late at night, and I was just finishing up a bunch of freelance stuff, and I finished it all up, and then I was like, you know what, I forgot to do a video today, so time for a video. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, so I'm going to just kind of do one pass, and we're going to do this casual style, basically hit it and quit it. Let's go. All right, so let's first things first, we're going to open up Terminal. Terminal gets us into our project, and then let's see, make sure, yep, we're in the right place. And let's go ahead and just open that up in Sublime. Let's also open that in actually really quick, let's make sure, oh, we're on, okay. Just making sure that the project, I couldn't remember if I committed last time or not. Okay, we're on branch master, we're clean. And then let's see, let's open up our server and let's talk about what we want to do in this video. So PHP artisan serve. I feel like I complain. I'm not going to complain anymore. I feel like I always get on these videos and complain. I was going to say I have a horrible headache. All right, so let's get into our, let's go into our project, localhost 8000. All right, so this is what we got right now, and we've been working on all this /posts business, but this, as I mentioned earlier, all this posts, like this here, viewing all these posts, we want this to be blocked by our authentication system. By the way, guys, I'm reading your comments, and I know you guys are dying for the authentication system, so I'm gonna get there. It's like 3 videos away, I promise. Well, I hope I can live up to you guys' expectations. I'm really nervous. Everyone's really looking forward to it. Okay, so we're gonna get to authentication in like 3 videos. What we're gonna do after we finish authentication is we're gonna lock down this portion of our website. So you have to be logged in to see all the posts. That makes sense, right? Because this is where you would view and edit them. And then also I mentioned before that this this view section is this, I kind of just want this to be locked down as well. This is like the view that you would use as an admin, but we need to make a different view that's like forward facing. So we're gonna kind of call this the back end, and everything under this /posts is gonna be our back end. And we'll talk about that in the authentication system, basically why we're gonna do that. It's for simplicity. Having an entire controller be blocked by authentication is much easier and cleaner to manage than trying to block certain methods. Totally doable. You can definitely do that if needed. So yeah, it's totally something we can do, but just for simplicity, it's easier to block an entire controller than it is to block individual methods in the controller. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lock down the entire posts controller, which means that all of these, the ability to edit and view the single page like this, to edit, to destroy the post, and to do the index that we were just at. In order to do this, all of this is going to be blocked by the authentication system. So what we're working on today is working on the forward-facing one, which is this here. This is forward-facing. And then when you read more, we're going to show a single post, and that's going to be forward-facing as well. But it's going to look slightly different from a design ways as the other one that we did, the post.show, okay? And we're going to just have that in, probably in the pages controller. It's probably just a good place to show a single blog post, okay? So that's what we're doing in this video. What I want to do is I want to pull in these little, the 5 most recent blog posts that we have here. You know when you go to a blog and you got like, you know, it just shows the most recent blog posts, obviously on the home page. That's what this is here. these 4 posts here. So we're going to pull these in, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We're going to use the query builder, and that's the part that's really going to be unique to this video, because you guys already know basically how to output it once you get it into the database, or from the database. You know how to put it on the page with Blade. Super easy. You guys have figured it out, I'm sure. You guys are super smart. I hear you guys have all sorts of stuff in the comments. You guys are helping each other out. That's really cool. By the way, I saw a comment today. I haven't replied to it. I read all the comments, and then I don't like doing it from my phone. I don't like replying to them on my phone. So I read them on my phone, and then I go back at night and then reply to them. So that's why sometimes you guys, I'll reply to them all at once. But anyway, there was a comment today that said someone was like apologizing. They thought they were like trying to one-up me. Totally get it, guys. Don't worry about it. I want you guys to share your knowledge. So if you learned something that I didn't share in the video, go ahead and tell about it in the comments, and it helps other people out, because I can't cover everything in these videos. You're not one-upping me. I don't feel that way, so don't worry about it. I liked that comment though. I appreciated it. It was cool. And oh, by the way, that comment was, what was it about? Oh, it was about, I was going to mention that actually. If you go to the documentation for pagination, no, is it, yeah, pagination. Oh, stupid. Laravel. Go to the Laravel documentation for pagination, and let's just go there real quick. So I think there's a page here for pagination, and I linked this in the description for you guys. And I think what I mentioned down here at the bottom, there's these additional helper methods, and I mentioned that these exist, and someone in the comments had mentioned that he was able to make, you know, at the bottom underneath all the buttons, you can say like page 1 of 10 pages or whatever. They had figured out how to do that, which is really cool. Using some of these helper methods here at on the pagination documentation. So basically what they did is they went and they would write in their code, they wrote like page, the actual text for page, and then they inserted with Blade, they inserted results current page, this one right here. Results current page, and then they ended the Blade, and then you wrote like the word of, and then they did the total pages right here. So it would say basically page 1 of 10 or whatever, you know. So really cool thing. I love that, guys. Share that in the comments if you have anything like that. Again, I can't bring it all up, and also sometimes I don't even know this stuff, and so if you guys can post it, it's really good. Another example was someone brought up Carbon. Why did I not use Carbon? Which, for those that don't know, Carbon's like a really easy, I don't know if it's easy. I think it can get a little tricky, but it's easier than some of the other alternatives. But it's a way to handle like complex time and date stuff. Like you can actually have it read like, you know, posted with Carbon. You can have it convert something like a timestamp, instead of it actually like outputting the timestamp. It can say something like a month ago or something like that. It's pretty cool. And then you can also like add and subtract time really easily. And yeah, someone mentioned, they're like, why didn't you just use Carbon? Honestly, why did I not use Carbon? I kind of forgot that Carbon existed in Laravel. And like I legitimately forgot. I've been using the time stuff in PHP for so long. And I learned about Carbon a while ago with Laravel, but then I went to using, I use Ruby on Rails a lot, and in Ruby on Rails, they don't have Carbon, but they have stuff kind of like Carbon in Ruby on Rails that's just built into the framework. And so I kind of got used to that, and I guess I just kind of forgot about Carbon. So good reminder. And what I want to do is, because Carbon is really cool, as soon as you guys started talking about it, it wasn't just one person, by the way, a couple people were mentioning it, and as soon as you guys mentioned it, I was like, dang it, I wish I had brought up Carbon. I kind of forgot about it. That's the honest to God reason that I didn't do it, was because I legitimately just forgot. And that happens. So you guys reminded me, and I want to do like a video about, not in this series, but we'll do a different one about Carbon, because Carbon's cool. Carbon, you can do some pretty sick stuff with Carbon, and it does make it easier than what I was doing, telling you guys. But anyway, there's more than one way to skin a cat. With everything in coding, there's always more than one way to do everything. So it's cool. I've gotten way off topic, guys. Sorry about that. That's what these casual videos are all about. We get off topic sometimes, and I go on tangents. Anyway, take a look at when I give you guys this documentation. Just finishing up the tangent real quick. Yeah, when I give you guys this documentation, the reason I'm giving it to you, and I don't always clarify, but the reason I always say, oh, I'm going to link the documentation below if you have more questions. Usually what I mean is I'm basically saying, hey, there's a lot more in the documentation for this topic than what I covered. So go check it out and you can find other stuff. Because other than pagination, there was another one recently, I can't remember what it was. I linked the documentation, and that's why I linked to the documentation, was because there's a ton of stuff about what I was talking about. I covered a tiny bit of it, and there's a lot of other stuff. So if you wanted to go into more detail about that topic, that the documentation provides that, usually. Sometimes not. Sometimes the documentation is like worthless, and what I'll teach you is more detailed than the documentation, and then sometimes, it's the opposite. Sometimes the documentation is more detailed than what I teach you. Okay. Off the tangent. So back to here, what we're going to do is we're going to fill this in, and we're going to pull the top 4 posts, the most recent posts, and we're going to fill them in right here. And I'm just going to show you the query builder real quick. And then the other thing I wanted to do is I remember what happened on this. So if we go to post / like just whatever, this is a post.show page. I have this see all post button, and I actually just want to show you this, guys. I did this in a previous video, and then I cut it. When I was editing it, it was dragging on too long, and I cut it out of the video, and I meant to come back and forgot to come back. So this link is in my videos, and it's not in your guys's. So I just want to real quick show you guys how I did this, and then we'll finish up the video, and that's going to be basically it for today. And then tomorrow we'll work on we're going to work on the individual page for our posts. So when you click remord, it's going to do an individual page. And then after that, we've got something, but I can't remember what it is. I'd have to go look at my notes. Okay, let's get started. I feel like I'm talking way too much. Okay, so let's go. So what we're going to do is we're going to access our homepage, and we basically need to grab the top 4 blog posts in reverse order. Okay, so where do we do that? You guys should know it's in the controller. So app, HTTP, controllers, and then not the post controller. Now we're working in the pages controller, because the index is in the pages controller, and we're working on the home page of the website. So we're going to work here in this get index page. We're already returning the view for welcome. Now all we need to do is pull some logic in, right? So we're going to make a variable that's going to hold all of our posts, and we're going to get them from the database. You guys all know this, right? You're going to access the model post, and then from here you can you could do find, you could do all, stuff like that. Well, we're obviously going to do something a little more complicated than that, because we need to do something where there's not like a default like query thing built for us. So we have to kind of make our own query. Luckily, it's not a complicated query, but it's going to kind of introduce you guys to how you would work with a more complicated database query. Okay, and that's just what they call the query builder. So what the query builder is, let me come and show you that in the documentation real quick. This is an example actually where there's no way in this world that I could do a video about everything in the query builder. So we're going to touch on it. And if you have more questions about the query builder, you're going to want to go look at this documentation page, because like I said, there's no way I could do it. I could do a series about it, and we could do like a video about each of these things maybe, but man, fitting all of it into one video, there's a ton of information here. The idea, though, I want to let you guys know it exists, is kind of the point. The query builder allows you to do more complex queries than just doing like all or find or something like that. Those are kind of like shortcuts queries. These are for building any kind of query that you want. So those of you guys that have worked with actual SQL code before, you'll know that what you do is, anyway, you write out these long queries where it'll say like select, star from a table, a certain table, and you'll limit it by some, or you'll obviously have a where clause in there. Yeah, so you have like where, this equals that. So you're finding all the, items that match that, and then you'll limit them maybe and order them in a certain order. You can join different tables. You might have certain tables and you want to connect them together where, an ID number for this matches an ID number for that, or something like that. So you build these long strings, and then you basically it's a big long string. You plop it into your the PDO parameter, and that's how you do it in PHP at least, is the PDO, and then you would and then it accesses the database, pulls back the data. So this is the same way that you would do that, but you're going to do it more eloquently. And ironically, that's the name of the ORM, is eloquent. So these are all eloquent or query builders. So Let me just skip past this first part because it's stupid. Let me just show you real quick down here. So selects. So to do a basic select request, you can see here that you just say basically like the table you're accessing, and you're going to select the name and the email as user email. So, and then at the end you got the get. So when you're doing the query builder, you always finish up every single thing. You're going to piece these all together. So there's a method for join, there's a method for select, there's a method for where, you know, there's one for, I don't remember what else I said, join, order by, limit, all of those things, all the things you normally have in SQL. There's a method for all of those, and you can basically chain the methods together to create a nice query, but it's really easy to read. It's very PHP-esque, if that makes sense. Okay, so all that information's in here, and again, I'm not going to cover every last detail of it. The last thing I wanted to show you though here is you can do raw SQL expressions. So if you already know SQL really well, even if you know SQL, I don't recommend doing it unless you absolutely have to. But you can actually write raw SQL in here. So you can see here that you do db raw, and then you pass in a string. And this is an actual SQL line that you can just pass right in. So if you can't figure out how to add it to the SQL with the query builder, or sometimes you just can't. If are really, really, really complex queries, you can't do it with the query builder. But I promise you, 98% of them you can. But really complex ones you might not be able to. You can just do db raw and pass in a SQL, and it's going to automatically create the PDO parameter. If you know what I'm talking about, those of you guys that do, it automatically creates the PDO parameter and executes it and everything with one little db raw thing. You do have to do get at the end, I think, but other than that, it'll do all that. So and it handles it safely, escapes the data, everything. Okay, so that's one way to handle if you just need to write the SQL yourself. Okay, next you can see here we got joins, pretty basic. Here you just pass in the parameters as you expect. It's pretty easy to work with. Okay, unions, where clauses. This is what we'll be doing a lot with the where clauses. So here votes, and then you do an equals and then 100, and you always got to pass this in. This is the hardest, like the biggest error I see with people is you got to pass this in as an actual string. You would think that you could just do an equal sign, but you can't. You got to do actually an equal sign inside of a string, and you can do like and stuff like that in here, so you can actually pass the words in. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot of stuff here. Basically what I'm going to show you guys is here's the order by. So we're going to be doing order by because we want to order them in the most recent we want to order them in descending order like we did in the pagination. We want the newest one at the top instead of the oldest one. And then we're going to do the limit. Is limit in here? Here's limit. That's weird. Take 5. Hold on. That's weird. We're going to do some experimenting because the documentation is different than how I've done it in the past. I wonder if take and limit are the exact same thing. They must be. All right, let's try it. So I'm used to using limit, and limit's not in here, but it's saying that take and limit are the same, I think. And then skip, I'm guessing, is the same as offset. I don't know. We'll find out. All right, so let's come over here, and we're going to start building our query. So you guys did see, let me come back over here real fast. You guys see here, all of these start with like this DB table users. You don't actually have to do that if you're using a model. So here we're actually using the post model. The post model is already defined over here to use the posts table, okay? So they're already connected to each other. So if you just use the post model, and you can actually skip that section where you're doing, sorry, here's pages controller. You can actually skip that section if you just do this. You don't have to do DB table because it already knows that the post model uses the posts table, so you don't have to request the specific table. So that's how I like to work with it. However, if you're doing like a join request or something, you might have to do DB table to specify, because you're not going to maybe work with a model or something. So that's one. That's I just wanted to mention that because that can throw people off when they're looking at the documentation. Okay, so basically just assume you're doing everything after the like table. So the table's already selected. Okay. The other thing that throws people off is like, you can do this, I think. Technically, you can do this. You can do select star. And then you can start adding your like order bys. But you don't need to. If you actually omit any sort of select statement, it automatically assumes select star. Okay? So I never write select star, but you can if you really have to, but you just don't need to. It's cleaner. You can just here do post, and it just assumes, okay, basically it's creating, if you guys know SQL, it's creating select star from posts, and then like just by doing post here with the 2 colons, you basically already have that part of your SQL statement created. And then you just want to do whatever's after that. But by default, unless you specify otherwise, you're always, if you just do this post like this, or user, when we get to authentication, we'll have a user model and we'll just do user. That'll automatically, the user model will automatically do select star from users, and then it, continuing from there. So here, post, just think select star from posts, and then we can do whatever we want after that. All right. So post, and we'll do order by. We need to order by. So we do capital. Remember the by of order by needs to be capitalized. And then we order by the created at. And you could do created at or the ID. I did the ID in the last one. I guess it doesn't matter, does it? I don't think it matters. Okay, create it, because the oldest one is always going to be, since we don't have a draft system, we don't have like an ability where you actually have like a publish date. That's where they would be different, where you would want to, if you were actually creating a system where you had like, where the post is originally created, but then maybe not published until you click publish, then your publish date would be different than your created at date. And then you would want to sort by the publish date, okay? But in this case, the ID number, the greater the ID number, the more recent it is. The created at dates always, they're going to be basically the exact, you're going to get the same results, if that makes sense. But because we're doing a simple blog, if we were to do a more complex blog like WordPress, you might have like you might have a draft form, and then you might have like a published form and stuff like that. And so in that case, you'd want to sort by your published time frame, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. So we're doing created at, and we're going to do that in descending order. And then that's all for the order by. And then the last thing we want to do is just limit. So we want to limit to 4 items, and that's basically it. Last thing you do with all of these is you do get, and that's it. Pretty easy. Now we've got the posts should contain the most recent 4 items in our blog posts. Okay, so that's what we're doing with that. The last thing you guys should remember is we got to pass it in. So with posts, and we're gonna set it equal to posts. Pretty easy. That's it for the controller. So the controller's done. Let's head over to the view. So in the view, you need to go to resources, views, and pages. Welcome. All right. You can see here that we've got, these are all of our posts here. So we can just delete all of them but one of them. So let's just come up here and delete all but one, because we're going to loop. That's why we're doing the all but one. Okay. All right. And let's create some space here, and we're going to do a for each loop. Okay. So go ahead and use your blade for each. That's the easiest way to handle this. And then we're going to handle posts as post. Again, you guys should know this. So we're looping through all of our posts, and we're going to, as we loop through it, we're going to access it with post. And let's go ahead underneath this HR. Let's go ahead and just end the for each so we don't forget, like that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and indent all of these. And then the next thing is, all right, we just need to submit our data. So let's come over here and let's just do our blade. We're going to do post title. And then we're going to do over here, we're going to do our blade again. We're going to do post body. And then we're going to do, here's the URL, read more. So we just need to do the actual URL, the reference. So the actual URL. So what we're going to do here, we're going to put blade into our href. We're going to access route. And what we want to do is when they click on this, I guess we actually haven't created this yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to create another, in our pages controller, we're going to create like, in WordPress, they call it single. Okay, and single means like view a single blog post. And so if you're coding, if you guys have developed, I think a lot of you guys have, it seems like from what I've noticed of those that are following me, a lot of you guys have experience and kind of, I've heard a few people mention WordPress. So if you guys have worked with WordPress, you know that there's like CMS pages and then there's like blog post pages, and the blog post pages are called single. That's what they call them. And then they call the other ones page. The CMS pages are called page. So what we could do here, the reason I'm going on that tangent, is we could go here and we'll create a URL called pages.single, because we got a pages controller, and in our pages controller, we're going to create a method for single. So we're going to do pages.single, and then we're going to need to pass in an ID number for that page. So as the second parameter of our route, we're going to pass in post ID, and that'll be the ID number for our post. Okay. Now what we're going to do in the, is that the next video? Yes, I couldn't remember earlier. I needed to look at my notes. The next video is actually the slugs, I think, if I remember right. Yes, I can't remember what else. I think it's the slugs. So when we go to the slugs, we're going to change this, and we're instead of passing an ID number, what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a slug. Okay, so you know what? Actually, because we're going to do that and we're just going to change it, let's just not link the pages for now. So let's just go ahead. We're not going to link these. We're going to come back and link them, because the problem is if we do this, now we got to go create a route and then we got to have a method. Because if you don't have a route, if we link to this route here, but we haven't created the route yet, it's going to throw an error. And then if I go create a route and link it to a function in our controller, it's going to throw an error. So then I got to go create a function in our controller. So it's just, we're just not going to worry about it. So we're going to just have a blank link, and we'll come back after we do the slugs and we'll work on this. Okay. We'll fix this again. All right. So that should be basically everything here. Let's go ahead, save this page, and we're going to come back over here and refresh. Okay. We get an error. This happens. No big deal. We're going to work on it. So let's see. We've got controllers post not found. All right, line 8. Let's come back over here, and we're in our pages controller. I'm guessing line 8 posts. Oh, okay, I know what's happening. So remember, guys, we had to namespace. We've already namespaced this up here, and because we called a class called post, it is assuming that post belongs in the controller's namespace, which it doesn't. There's not. The post is out here in the app namespace. So what we need to do is we just need to come down here. We need to say use app post, oist post. Okay, and then is that the right? That's the right syntax. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, this should get rid of that error. So let's save that. Come back over here, refresh. Okay, good, it worked. So that's good. All right, perfect. So we've got our first post, we've got our second post, we've got our third post, and we got our fourth post. Perfect. Last thing we need to do is, let's go ahead and just truncate this. You guys already know this because this is the last one. I hope this video doesn't suck balls because you guys already know everything. It might be way too easy. I hope it does. I hope you guys can still enjoy it. If not, it's one video. We'll get back to some stuff that you guys know in the next video. I shouldn't say that, but I hope it's valuable to you guys. I don't know if it is or not. Okay, but it is pretty basic stuff. But the good news is, if you are worried, you're like, oh shoot, this is new, what am I doing? Then you probably haven't been paying good attention, and you might want to just perk up in some of the later videos, but if you're all like, yeah, I'm a pro, this is easy, Alex, you're boring me, that's actually probably a good thing. You guys are catching on, you guys are doing it. Okay, so order by limit for get, I forgot what we were doing now. Oh, we were truncating the posts. That happens in our view. So let's come over here. In our body, we want to truncate. So we're going to do substring. And the string is going to be post body. And then we're going to start. Let's get rid of this here. We're going to start at 0, obviously. And then we're going to go for, let's try 300 characters. Let's save that. Come back over here, refresh. And good, it looks good. Last thing is, We could actually count the, we could add the ellipses, the dot, dot, dot. We just open up a new blade. We actually already did this with, this isn't anything new. We did this in the previous video, but anyway, you just do a ternary operator. You're gonna do string length. You're gonna count your string, which is gonna be post, body, and if that is greater than 300, then you want to return the dot, dot, dot. And if it's not greater than 300, then just return a blank string. Let's come back over here and refresh. Okay. So sure enough, you got the dot, dot, dot. You got no dots. Perfect. So it works. So basically that's it, guys. I think we're done. Right? Pretty simple. That was a super easy video. The last thing I was going to show you, if you go to post.show, yeah, that doesn't exist. This isn't an actual URL. I was just thinking post.show, but that's not a URL. By the way, side note, I was talking to someone emailed me with a question. I might have got 2 emails with this. Someone emailed me with a question about how to get a 404 page. And because, like, for example, here, this wasn't a URL, so they were wondering how you get a 404 page. You actually, the 404 pages are actually handled automatically when you deploy. But since we're on a test server right now, or a development server, we get these error messages. But when you deploy to your website, like when we actually deploy at the end, we're going to change the environment from development to production. And when we go to production and you get a URL that doesn't exist, it'll return a 404 automatically, okay? Because someone is asking, I think 2 people were asking about 404 errors, and that's what you would do. So just a little side note. And if you are interested in, looking those errors here, you can see here, there's an error. This is their 503 error, and you can create another, if you just create a new file, and you can do 404.blade.php, and you'll have your 404 error. That's what the 404 error looks like. So if you want to customize your 404 page, you just create a new thing here in errors, and it'll, if you have a 404, it'll automatically display that when no route is found, okay? So like in this case, no route would be found, so you could display a 404 page, okay? By default, if you don't create a 404 page, it actually looks really ugly. It looks like this page, the default like one built into Laravel, looks exactly like this page except without any of this stuff. Okay, so it just has, it's gray and it has this little white box that says, sorry, the page can't be found. It says exactly this. So it's this exact page without any of this stuff. That's the default 404 page if you move to production and you haven't created a 404 page. Okay, someone was asking about that, and luckily this reminded me of it. Okay, last thing though with the video, what I was trying to get to was if you just go to post/3 or something, I've created this button here. I just want to quickly show you guys what I did to create it so that if you're following along, you can just do it really fast. But again, it's nothing new. You guys already knew this. So let's come back over here, and I'm going to close that 404 page, and then we're going to go to our post.show. So post show. And then in here, you can see that what I've created is we had this row that we created before, and we had a column 6 where we have our edit button, and then we have a column 6 where we have our delete form. And remember, this is like an actual little form. Well, down here, what I did is I just created another row. Okay, underneath that, I added another column 12. And then inside of there, we just created, with Blade, we just created a link, okay? And this is the kind that we've done before. So I did the HTML helper. We did HTML link route. And then you just passed in, for link route, you just pass in the name of the route, post.index in this case. And then you pass in the value that you want, which is see all posts. And I actually put these little less than signs to kind of make arrows. You can do that if you want. You don't have to. The third item in link route, by the way, is if you have to tack on any parameters into the URL, you would pass in an array with all those parameters. If you don't need to pass on any parameters, you still need a third argument and just make it an empty array. Okay, so you can either do like what I did here, like that, or you can do array like this. Either one works. Okay. And then the last thing is this class. You just pass in your classes, okay, in an array. So that's all we did here. So you guys can look at this. Go ahead and pause the video. Pause. pause. All right, that's it. And you're done. Okay, so that's all I did for that. Any other cleanup that we need to do while I got this video? The point of this video is kind of just to clean things up. I don't think so. We learned about how to use the query builder. That was the biggest thing of this video. And we went on a few tangents, and I don't know. That's it. Yeah, sorry guys. I hope it was valuable to you guys. I don't know. I almost didn't make the video again because I wondered if it was too basic, but at the same time, I don't like to tack it on to an existing video because it's kind of out of place. And I also didn't really want to just like have it, just either ignore it or just have it randomly show up where all of a sudden it's working. Like, you know, so I wanted to kind of show you guys, and I know it wasn't, you guys probably knew everything already, so it probably wasn't anything fancy. And I apologize if it, you know, if you didn't learn anything. It's, don't unsubscribe just because it's one video. I promise more is coming. This isn't, you know, that's going to be good and useful for you. But anyway, that's what this video was. Again, I just kind of got done with some of my work tonight and had a little extra time. I wasn't ready to go to bed yet, and I just decided that, and my clothes are washing. By the way, guys, last thing before I go is this thing here. I know I wear this sweatshirt in like all of my videos, and I promise I don't wear this every day. I promise. I just happen to wear it the days that I'm doing videos, because basically what happens, this is like a big oversized sweatshirt. It's like really, really big. Oh, branding. Uh-oh. Anyway, I don't know if any of you guys know what Cabela's is. In the US, you would know what it is. But anyway, it's just a big outdoor store, like for hunting and fishing and stuff. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this shirt, I actually don't wear it every single day. I only wear it when I'm done with work, I'll change out of my clothes and wear something a little comfier. Or like right now I'm doing laundry, so I just throw it on and things like that. I only wear it when I'm really lazy. I don't actually wear it every day, but I know it's in like a lot of my videos. And that's probably why, because I kind of like dress down, get comfortable, and then start working and doing these videos. Anyway, this is kind of my comfortable, just like lazy. This is my lazy sweatshirt. We all have one. I know you guys have one. Don't judge. I know everyone has a lazy sweatshirt that you wear. But anyway, that's it, guys. I don't know what else to say. I hope it was valuable to you. Tomorrow's video is going to be, I think it's going to be the slugs. I think it's going to be the slugs. I was going to do something else, and I don't think I'm going to do it. You know what? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. If I was going to do a sticky post, so like, I don't know, this seems like a pain in the butt. I don't even know if this is worth it. I was going to do a sticky post, and so we were going to set something up where we would basically set a post to be a sticky post. And, you know, so then it would show up at the top if you had a sticky post. But that just seems like a pain in the butt, you know? I don't know. If you guys want to do it, comment below. It's pretty basic. I'll just kind of run you through it right now. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to create a new column in our database, in our table, our post table. We're going to create a new column. It's going to be a Boolean column, and it's going to basically be like sticky or like maybe the column would be like is sticky, is underscore sticky, something like that. We would create a column called is sticky. That would be a Boolean column. And I was going to show you how to add to a column, but we're going to already do that in the slug video. That was why I was going to actually add the sticky. It wasn't because I wanted the sticky feature, the sticky post feature. Do you guys know what I mean when I say sticky post? Sticky post means like it always shows up at the top. Like if you always want to pin it to the top, it's a sticky post. That's what I was thinking. So the reason I was going to do the sticky post feature wasn't because like I don't think the sticky post feature is all that useful, but I thought it would be a good way to kind of show you guys how to add like a column to the table after we've already created the table. It would be like kind of good to show that because that can get confusing for people. And so that was kind of the point of it. It was really mainly to show how to do that and then show how to go back to our other methods that we've worked on, like some of the CRUD, and how to, you know, update those methods to accommodate this new feature. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to skip over it because it's basically going to be the exact same video as the slug video. The only difference is going to be, well, there's not much difference actually. It's basically we're adding a feature, we're adding a new column, and then we're going to, like the slug, we're going to add a new column, and then we're going to send that, we're going to go back through all the methods and make sure the methods are updated to understand how to use that new column, which is basically what I was going to do with the sticky post video. So I basically have 2 videos that we're going to solve the same problem. The only difference is you guys really, really, really want to do the slug video, and I don't think anyone really cares about the sticky post video. So anyway, I basically convinced myself here while talking to this empty camera, hoping that it's you guys, I convinced myself we're just going to do the slug video. Sorry. I just don't see any point in doing a video that's going to be... The sticky post video is going to end up being the same thing as the slug video. So I just don't want to waste our time. And you guys all want to get to authentication. And if we do the slug video, then we skip over the sticky post video, then we'll get to the authentication sooner. So in fact, we can get to it by, just depends how long the slug video takes. I think we just do it in one part. I think we just do one part for the slug video. We're just adding, it'll just be a long video. We're just gonna have to cruise. I'm gonna have to not talk and just focus on the thing. And if we just cruise through it, we can finish it in one video. So tomorrow we're gonna do slugs. And then after we do slugs, we're going to, it's gonna be a big video. Tomorrow might be like a 45-minute video, guys. It really might be a 45-minute video. Yeah, that might happen. It's gonna be a long video, but I'm gonna squeeze it into one video, and then we dive into authentication. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. Peace.